gives us the height and makes a grid appear. Oh. Alright, well, I have no clue why this is here, but apparently that's the punch, the fist. Hello everyone and welcome to part 2 of remaking Hogs of War into D. As you probably have seen from the title, I have made a couple of weapons, which is the cattle prod and the machine gun. Actually, I've done also the trotter, but it was just a basic concept from which then I built the cattle prod. Anyway, why did I choose those weapons? Because I thought that the most easy thing to do would be replicate the inventory of the paratrooper. For those who doesn't know or is not familiar with the game, the paratrooper has the slimmest inventory and also has like a good mix of every kind of weapon from every category. So I consider the category of weapons in Hogs of War like melee weapon, which is cattle prod, trotter, bayonet, and etc. etc. Shooting weapons, so it's like pistol, rifle, sniper rifle, and machine gun that we are that we have worked on. And then we have the throwing category, which does include like all the grenades for like the middle range and other weapons like bazookas or airburst, which are considered the long range. And finally the accessories. And for accessories we have the jetpack in the paratrooper inventory, but we can also consider, I don't know, mines and TNTs and other things that kind of follow special rules. So you have to kind of take them apart, take them one individually, and then work on them. The other kind of weapons just works a little bit the same with some differences. So yeah, but anyway, as you probably have seen in the last episode, the oh no, don't move stuff. Okay, so in the previous video, the video kind of stopped with a rough design of the trotter getting in this corner of the map. So a lot has improved from that. And now if I'm looking down, it's just because I have my tablet here with like a list of things that I have to say, so I don't just forget pieces. Now we can start. So for making a weapon, we needed to do a few steps, like in order to work on the movement of the player, we needed a player and an environment to where to move. So that was what I focused on in the first episode. But in the second episode, we need, first of all, an inventory. So the first thing I worked on, since you will need a way to equip and unequip the weapons from your player, was to work on an inventory system, which was already kind of included in the script, because forgive me for this gigantic script, but the player pig already had like a inventory, which is an array of weapons. Arma is weapon in Italian, and the weapon itself is a resource, and also the inventory is a resource, but we will get back to that in a bit. So let me search the resource, the weapon resource, this is the script that keeps the definition of the resource, and especially basically when we make a resource, we just define some of its variables that are defined in the script, and we can choose stuff like this is the resource for the cattle prod, called electroshock in Italian, and the cattle prod, it's the name, the category it's corpo a corpo, which is melee, 25 to damage. We don't have any healing. And now, and here we have a lot of other stuff, like effects. So if it is 1/1, it doesn't apply effect like poison, freeze, or whatever. The reference to the scene, which we will need to load it as soon as it gets chosen in the inventory. And where are the textures in the assets. So, going back to the inventory itself, I didn't do a separate scene for it, but just to explain, this is a frame. I used a node called the item list, which came up really handy, and the item list works like a list of buttons. So basically you can tell him how many columns you want. If you don't explain, if you don't like tell him it just assumes there is one. And when the player now presses E, this item list, which by the way it's just an item list, but I then applied a sprite 2D to it, and the sprite 2D I just jumped into the game, made a screenshot of the inventory, and just cleaned it out a little bit. So when we press E, the game asks on the Pix script what are the weapons in the inventory, and through these resources, he knows how much of a certain weapon is there, if it is infinite or not, where are the scene, where are the resources, where are the textures, and etc. etc. So after the weapons have been loaded into the item list, we just move it a little bit, and I'm gonna show you now a quick example in the game. So we go to our beloved characters, we move him here. As I press E, the inventory slides in, and I think I need to move it a little bit more to the right. To the right, left, the left. But here you can see you have the cattle prod, then we have the machine gun, and those are bazooka and jetpack, but I don't have made the weapons yet. But with what Godot offers us, I think this was a quite nice result. We might want to get those buttons a little bigger, or even the icons a little bigger, but I think, this is a good rendition using the tools that Godot already provides us. If we double click on something, we equip the weapon. And here I will need to show you something before we go on. Because when I was coding all of this, so I was actually in the scene of the cattle prod, which is just this. I stumbled across a video which I will now take out and show you. I will show it here in the recording, but probably I'm gonna edit it a little bit.
So that is basically how you can design your game to be maintainable and scalable. Think of every component you build as your own Godot node. Ask yourself this: what is the minimum set of reusable functionality that you can put in node form that is guaranteed to be useful across a number of unique scenes? Health is an obvious one. Hurt boxes are an obvious one. So think about,
like, I further watched in the video, and I will link the video in the description. But the concept of this video was Godot is built to have components that are usable, and you're not only limited to what the program offers you. You can also do your kind of components. So that's when this the next need it's satisfied. So going back to the game, when we go to our menu and select a weapon, I have created this component that gives us those dashed squares, and those are all buttons with a very minimal texture. But all these buttons offers the player the possibility of choosing in which direction we want to attack. And having done this as a component means that if I now want to use a trotter, which I can't right now because it's not in the inventory actually I can, because I can change this. It says bazooka, but it will load the scene of the trotter. So now I have the trotter and I use the same component. So I just needed to prepare it and load it once, and and it's ready as usable. I will use it on the bayonet. When I make the bayonet, I will use it on the sword. When I will use the sword, and it will behave the same. We are just gonna write another sprite for it. Isn't it cool? So, the other question I had to answer, it's, when we click on an opponent, so we go to this pig in particular, how do we know the pig we are hitting? Oh, actually, this is something I will answer later. The question is how. So this is the animation I prepared for this attack. I just go the fist, the trotter just moves, and yeah, that's basically it. But what if I wanna attack over or under, like in this case? Well, the answer was quite similar. Why it was quite easy. Since I don't want to do 4 different animation, one for the attack on the right, one for the attack on the left, down and up, and I think one of the option, the one option where I attack the guy that is on top, would feel a little strange. It's just if it is just the weapon moving around the back like this. It could have been funny, but I came up with another solution. The pig now will rotate entirely in the direction the hit will be, the attack will be performed, and then go back to this position. Let me show you. Silly, I know, but it gives me the idea, and no, I think the effect is quite nice. This also cuts a lot of my work, since I don't have to do 4 animation for every weapon I do, but I simply make one animation directed to the right. I do one animation considering that the opponent is on the right, and then the code automatically just rotates my pig, and the animation kind of looks good anyway. Even if I wanna attack with this pig here, of course, backside, it just rotates. I know it's kind of weird with this rotation of 180 degrees, but we were considered the game is on a top-down view, so it kind of makes sense. I still have to figure out a way to not rotate the labels on top of it, but I'm pretty satisfied with the result. Okay, now let's go to the machine gun, because there's a lot to talk about the machine gun. Let's so when we use a melee attack, we do the animation, but what happens in reality? We use this thing called physics ray query parameter 2D, and that means that basically Godot goes from this point to this point and kind of writes a line, makes a line, And as soon as as this line collides with something, of course the whatever this is has to have a collider, which you can see it like behind the pig. It's like here. It will return us in the response of this function, like a lot of information actually, like positions and frame rate. It's gonna have a lot of information that is not needed, but most of all, it will have the reference to the correct entity that is being hit. So if we click, the process just takes a few seconds, and we can actually manage the health of the pig and move it to have like this knockback effect. But here comes the big part. We can't use like this strategy with a shooting weapon. For the shooting weapon, we need to actually, first of all, we need to like to perform a whole other animation. We need to spawn some bullet, then some bullet then reaches the opponent pig or even the allied pig if you want to do something fancy. So it's not gonna be like the game just telling us where we clicked what where is the pig or whose the pig is that takes the damage, but the individual bullet will be responsible to make the animation disappear and apply knockback, take out health, and etc. etc. So I actually modified the component that gives us the ability to, choose the tile we want to shoot at, and this is the final result. The bullet just travels for a little while and then makes this kind of particle animation and they just disappear. Of course, if they hit someone, they are going to subtract the health and disappear earlier. So in order to define how much the bullet will travel, I needed to go into the game and actually test. I will see if I have my duck station ready to be used. Let's do fresh boot and then let's get system load state, maybe this one. Okay, this was one of the tests. Let's see if I can see. The one that I don't... Yes, this one I want. Okay, so this is the test I used. Of course, we are on Deathpatch, aka known also as Speedrag, because the map is absolutely super flat, and that is what we need to make tests. So I just got from here to here, which by like making some calculations, like considering the minefield on the left and the box, it's about 20 of those squares. We can go with a machine gun and shoot, and we will probably hit all of them. Actually not, we are just one square off. So from here to the guy right there, it is 20-ish squares, and it will probably hit. This is also considering like the most flat surface and everything as flat as possible. What the hell just happened? Did he take damage or not? Oh, that definitely hit. But yeah, this is how I established the range for the shotgun. Also, I can probably refresh the save state, which should be F4. Yeah, going back here. As you can see from this test, like the bullets all kind of lands in the same space, in the same place. So it's not like they are the same distance everywhere. It's not really a semicircle, but it's, if we consider in our game, let me go back to my game. If we consider individual tiles, the angle that changes is not like as much that the first bullet like hits here, then here, then here, then here. They are all on the kind of the same line. So what I prepared before working on the scene itself is a little bit of a test scene. Test and mock. This one. Let's load the scene individually. And like assuming the pig started from here, we can't really see the center, but we kind of needed a range that was like the white ones. And that required a little bit of, tweaking, testing, and tuning, but the logic between the machine gun is that we start the attack animation by basically giving it a there we go. This is the right script. Giving it a 2.85 degree correction for every shot, and we just select a tile. The center of that tile becomes basically the target of the fifth shot. So we tilt a little bit to the right, then we move 2.85 degrees. Pam, 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 pam. The fifth shot hits the center one, which hits the target we chose. Pam, 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 for a total of 11 shots, which I think replicates pretty well the machine gun in the original game. Having said that, I need to load up to show you another scene. This one. This kind of needs a small explanation on how Godot works. So, Godot works like this. And let me go back to the code. We have... let's not watch this scene here, for the love of God. Godot, it's made in with nodes and trees, which the easiest way to describe it, it's I don't know, like a nesting doll, a matryoshka. That's how it is. So when we in that example, in this first test that I've done, that I showed you, what happens? The bullets are added as child of the player of the weapon, which is also a child of the weapon. So what happens when we start the first few shots? They will go like straight to the target that I have instantiated for them. I basically took the bullet and said, okay, you need to go in this direction, with this angle, and you have to go for 640 pixels, which is the 20 tiles that we established with the previous test, plus times 32 pixels, which is the amount of pixels which every tile in the game. So what happened? So why did the bullet just go a little bit wonky there? Actually, while we rotated the player, the pig, to have this effect of pew, 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 that rotation correction was also applied to to the bullet itself. So that meant that I had to climb up the ranking, the ladder of the game, and make the bullet spawn as child of the game, not as a child of the weapon / the player pig. Because if we just kept it as a child of the weapon, some parameters like position, rotation, and whatever are updated live while the bullet were going. So after I fixed that, it took me a while. Like I banged my head a few times on the wall just to shake things a little bit, and come up with a solution. I will show you now what happened when I fixed this. So this is another test. As you can see now, the bullets are just moving normally. But as you can see, the pigs on the right all took damage because the bullet just didn't stop. And on the left, the para is at 0 health. So now we have two problems. We have one, the bullet just needs to disappear when it hits the first target. And two, we need to spawn the bullets in a way that they will not hurt the pig that fired the shot, because you don't take damage just for firing the machine gun, unless you take your machine gun and go. And how did I solve those two problems? First of all, I added a marker, this one here, and then basically I told the bullet scene to spawn here. And this is, if we apply, if we like, how can I do this? No. Scene. If we take the player pig scene, and it should be something like here, we can see that the bullet is like way outside the hitbox of the pig. Now let's remove this before I do any damages. So that's one problem solved. And the second thing to fix was to give further instruction to the bullet. Where is the bullet? There you go. So now on hit, on body entered, we will check if it's a soldier. So if we, for example, if we hit a mannequin or we hit a tree, which I will add at some point, we just don't have to do these calculations. And in order to give to assign a group, we just go on node, groups, and here you can just add. I will not do it to this scene, but that's how you do it. And then I just deactivated where is it? So we just deactivated with set defer. So we disabled the collision and hid the polygon 2D. The polygon 2D is just it's just a node that lets you make simple shape. I made a simple rectangle and just added a texture on it. And we emitted the particles, so the effect that you have seen before that just makes those little yellow dots and makes everything disappear. So, having said that, we can go to the very last thing of regarding the machine gun, which is knockback. You have probably seen many times if you have played Hogs, you definitely know that machine gun it's like not the best weapon because it does only 20 damage. It's good only in like 2 instances. First one, it's multiple damage. We have seen plenty of examples in the league of people that are dealing multiple 20 damages to more than one target. And since we are spawning bullet individually, they can actually do 20 damage to more targets. And also the knockback. I remember distinctively remember like one or more instance when one of the players chose to use a machine gun just to get the knockback, basically the knockback into a minefield and such. So, with other testing in DuckStation, I've established that if you are maximum in 2-3 tiles of distance with your opponent, you can apply some knockback. Now, in the game, knockback with the machine gun, it really depends on many things, like what kind of tile you're on. So if it is a grass tile, if it is a snowy map, which we know is extra slippery, if the tile you're on it's on a slope or not. So there's a lot of things to consider. For now, but I wouldn't be surprised if this is like my final decision on this. I gave it a random range based on the distance between the bullet position start and the bullet position hit on the opponent. I measure it in tiles, of course. So if it is between 0 and 1.1, it's a random knockback of 3 or 4 or 5 tiles. In the same way, between 1.1 and 2.2, it's from 2 to 4, and if it is a maximum of 3.3, you have a knockback that is 1 or 2. So, the last question, and then we have everything figured out for the machine gun. Where do I do the knockback? Because if you go back to the game, and we just... Oh no. We just go like this and try to hit him. Like, how do we establish the knockback of the pigs? Okay, that's strange. Let's reset. Let's try to not be... Okay, it was, of course, it was more than 3.3, so the knockback was not calculated. We can see here it was 8.5, 6.7, 5.5, so this is why they didn't have any knockback. I thought it was due to, like, it glitching a little bit out of the center of the tile, but let's have a proper test. Let's have, like, him and then go back of 1, 2, 3. Let's do it like this. So how do we know the direction? So let's take, for example, the next pig, and he is placed like this, like really on the edge. So, to give you an answer, I will use a nice program here called... do I still have it? Yes, I do. Gink. Let's use blue. Like, here we have the knockback. So the knockback is basically established based on the rotation of the pick. So we can have a circle around the player, which is all the 360-ish degrees of rotation of the bullet. And we have this section, and this section. So in this section we push it on the right, in this section we push it up, in this section we push it to the left, and in this section we rotate it down. And it's quite easy. The limit here is 45. The limit here is 135. And 225 and 325. I believe so, at least. But I've done the math. It's here. It's 225 and 315. So I did remember it kind of right. 315. And that's it. And that is the only thing we need to consider. The only downside is that we don't really get like a X and Y, like an X and Y axis movement. We feel like we hit him from here to here. It would be more correct to move him here with a knockback, but I decided to keep it a little bit more simpler, just because it is easier to just code it as a solution, and it is fair, and it is fair anyway, and it's pretty easy to understand. So I think it fits with the game. That's what I'm gonna say. Yeah, and I think with this we talked pretty much about everything. I hope you enjoyed, and I would like to see you in a next video. So let me know your thoughts in the comment and subscribe. Bye!